Yes, people, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, people. As you look can see right now, we've got a panel right now of some A-listers. You know what I'm saying? We've got man like Rory. You know, we've got Dan Potts. We've got the legend Lee Judges. The first time streaming with Lee. What you lot saying, man? What you up saying today? You lot good?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I don't know why I'm in between two Chelsea fans, Don, but, you know, I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, let me see if I can move you around.
No, man, I'm joking. Oh, don't do that.
Oh, word. Let me. Wait, how do I even go back? You see, Potts, I've never done this before. Now you're making me do
man,
some
I shouldn't have said
go.
anything. I should have left it to it.
There we go. But
Nah,
Javon and Ziad, what you lot saying?
Good, man. Good.
All good.
Yeah.
All good. All good.
Ready to go. It's a battle. It's a London battle this weekend, isn't it? Don't have much stress like the United game last week because these men have to show respect, you know. But
Nah,
ready for Sunday. Ready for
100%, man. 100%. We've got a few people joining us already in the house. Let's see who's in the chat, man. You got LB in here. Big up, Don. Big up, my bro. Ibrahim. Big up, Madway. I mean, Don, listen. You see Ibrahim? This guy hates Madwakey people. You know what I'm saying? All you're going to see is him cooking Madwakey all stream. Yeah? TP as well. It says up the Chels. Up the Chels. You got LBG as well. It says big up Ziad. But listen, people. This is a big game. Yeah? Massive game this weekend. You know, for us, it's been a minute since we've beaten Arsenal. Yeah, it's been what since we went over there to the Emirates and we had Reece James, we had Lukaku. These lot still had the likes of Mari and that at centre back, bro. And now they've got Saliba and Gabriel. You know, generational talent at the back now. You know, and that was the last time we beat them. You know, so this time round, I'm going into the game. I should feel a lot more confident than what I'm feeling right now. But I'll be real. After the performance I saw last week, boys, I've lost a little bit of confidence because another big game, you know, where we failed the test ultimately, you know, and I was talking about it last week saying, yo, we've got to go in there and I've got to see 8 out of 10 performances from every single person, regardless of how bad United have been. You can't go there and disrespect them. You know what I mean? Any team in the Prem, you've got to go there and make sure that you're locked in to win the game. And unfortunately, Maresca messed up with the tactics and the players just didn't turn up. And this week, if we try to turn up like the way we did last week, listen, as badly as Arsenal have been playing, as boring as Arsenal have been, they have different, you know, they've actually got chinks in their armor in comparison to United. You know, they've got their set pieces. You know, they've got Saka that can have a moment of brilliance. They've got Trossard, who's not been good so far. But if he starts on the left, for example, he can actually finish. He's a good finisher. You know what I mean? So there's certain areas I'm looking at right now and we cannot be slacking. You know what I mean? Cannot be slacking. But let me go first to you, Rory, man. How are you feeling going into this game, bro? Because you seem to be quite optimistic, positive a lot of the time, always trying to see the you know, the optimism of your team and stuff. But how are you feeling, honestly, bro, going into this game, man? Yeah,
not as optimistic as I have been in previous weeks. I think we're probably at a bit of a low point. But I'm still confident. Do you know what it is? This is the sort of game where we can turn it around. We've used this fixture before to turn things around, and I'm just hoping that we will. You know, Arteta seems confident, which is always a good sign. I didn't think we were that bad against Inter. The actual performance itself wasn't too bad. So, yeah, I'm still positive that we'll come away with a win. But, you know, just have to be a little bit more relaxed about it and give Chelsea a little bit more respect than normal.
How have you felt about your season so far, though, Rory, in terms of your performances?
Yeah, I mean, the performances haven't been good, to be honest. We started the season with a couple of good wins against Wolves and Villa, and since that point, it's been so stop-start. There's been no kind of momentum, no rhythm. We don't get to see the same team week in, week out. And, yeah, especially since we lost Ødegaard, I think the lack of creativity, we've been pretty boring to watch. I can understand, like, neutral fans have found us boring to watch, so it's not been ideal, but there is a lot of context in there. As much as like people call it excuses, it is context that, you know, 3 games we've had players sent off, we've had the injuries, and we've had a fairly tough run of fixtures. So, yeah, all things considered, not an ideal start, but it's not, you know, time to pack it all in and give up on the season.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you lot are completely out of it, but at the minute, you are kind of sort of hanging on, Lee, at the minute. You know what I mean? How are you feeling about your season so far, bro?
Yeah, I think Rory summed it up really well. I think there's been a lot of negativity, but I think with context, I think that at the moment, I think that there are certain things that I've got to say that Mikel's got wrong. Team selection. I'm confident that we can beat Chelsea if he plays the team that I think that he should play. If he carries on playing Havertz in midfield, then it's not going to happen. We was working it out today that up till January last season, January to May, Havertz played in didn't play up top in 3 games: Aston Villa, Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich. I don't. 3 games we didn't win. He's played up there, played in midfield against Bournemouth, Newcastle, Inter Milan. When is Mikel going to realise that this doesn't work? That's the question now. If he goes in with that same thing on on Sunday, yeah, I'll predict that Chelsea will have a 1 or 2-0 win. If not, I think we've got a good time to win. I think at the end of it, yeah, we've had injuries. Listen, all teams have injuries, suspensions. Yeah, teams have suspensions, sending offs. Yeah, they happen to Arsenal, not other teams. I was actually feeling a bit confident in the game, and then I understand that Michael Oliver, the Manchester City mascot, is refereeing this game. So it doesn't bode well. I don't know how Arsenal have allowed him ever to be referee. Apparently, don't have a say in that. But But at the end of it, it's
Gillett's on VAR as well. Apparently,
how is it like? So, right.
We are like
this is not Anthony Taylor.
Listen, he can't go I'm not going to go to the referees, but I just want to point it out there that if anything can happen, Mike Oliver is in charge of this game. He's the worst referee in the Premier League as far as I'm concerned. And I tell you that ain't a compliment because they're all crap. You know what I mean? But listen, we've got to go
Taylor's up there, man. Anthony Taylor's up there.
Anthony Taylor's up there.
He's the worst.
He don't even count, but he's not even count as a referee. We've
got to go there. Listen, I don't think Arsenal can carry on playing as bad as they are. They can't. And if you're going to get it right, Chelsea's not a bad place to start.
No, 100%, man. And listen, again, like Rory has said, you have come to us before when you've been on bad form and we've just kind of changed your season. I remember when you lot came to the bridge when we started Christensen and Sarr at the back. If you remember that game, Javon and Ziyad, and you had Eddie scoring 2 goals against you, bro. From time and Ketia scoring 2 goals against you, you've had an absolute stinker. Same way last year, from time you've got Ben White and Havertz scoring 2 goals against you in the fucking same game, you've had an absolute stinker, Potts. You know what I mean? But listen, Potts, how are you feeling about that midfield battle though? Because Lee made a good point about Havertz playing in the midfield, and that's something that I spoke about earlier. For me, Partey's been very good this season, in all honesty. Declan Rice not as good. You know how I feel about him long term, and Odegaard's been missing, but I reckon he'll probably start the game. How do you think that midfield battle is going to go from your point of view?
Yeah, I think it's where the game's going to be won, bro. And I think Chelsea's midfield's been better than Arsenal's this season. I really do. I think Caicedo, my thoughts on Lavia, my thoughts on Caicedo. I think Caicedo has a box-to-box quality, and I think he's been one of the best midfielders in the league. Palmer, I don't know if he's fit or not. We'll come on to that later. But if he does play, he's going to be an absolute baller. You know what he's like. And I think people that, are questioning him in big games now, I think we're going to find out. I mean, he scored against us last year. I know it was only a pen, but he was good. He was really good. And he has been good in bigger games. So he's a player I'll be really interested to see how he gets on. I think for us, it's going to be interesting who we play because there's doubts on Declan Rice because he's apparently broken his toe. We don't know if he's going to strap it up and play and get through it or if he is going to be dropped. We don't know if Odegaard's going to start because he did come on for a few minutes. But if I'm honest with you, it looks like a PR stunt, that. I mean, what was the point of bringing him to San Siro and bringing him on for 3 minutes? He might as well have just had a bit more of a rest, in my opinion. If Declan Rice has actually broken
it, PR thing, though, isn't it? I think that was more.
Yeah, it is. It's just a madness for me. It is a PR thing. And Declan Rice, for me, if he's got a broken toe, then just keep him out of the England game and this game. Just wait for him to get better because the guy needs a rest anyway without a broken toe. So he hasn't been right this season and he's definitely not an 8 in my opinion. Some people disagree with me. I think he's a 6. So for me, Thomas Partey has probably been our best outfield player. I don't know if the boys will agree. I think other than Raya, I think he's the one I'm looking to so far. I think Partey has been balling out for us. He's been really good. And I need to see him in that midfield. But for me, that's where it wins. Look, if we got Partey, Rice and Odegaard and all 3 of them are fit, I fancy us to do well because I think them three are good enough in midfield. If we have to start bringing in Trossard again or Marino in, I'm struggling, man. I don't know what this Marino guy does. And if I'm honest with you, Trossard playing again in the number 10, wow, I cannot see that happening, man. That just cannot happen.
No.
So, yeah, this is the game you need to change it up, man. And look, you mentioned it before, Don. We've had games where we've been struggling and we've had you guys and it's been like miraculously we win and then we go on a run. Yeah. I'm kind of praying and touching wood and crossing everything this happens again because we need it badly, man.
100%, bro. And listen, for me, looking at it objectively, you know, even just as an outsider, Arteta has to get that selection right in the midfield because he's been messing about, man. You know what I mean? And I've been telling you, Potts, for me, this is a manager that seems like he doesn't want to lose first before actually going for it. You know, he goes into games. I watch Arsenal, and a lot of the time I'm watching you lot, it's like you're 3 goals up already. And I'm like, it's 0-0.
Yeah.
You should be attacking, and then you sit back. You know what I mean? And you would have thought that you would be a little bit more braver, considering you've got 4 centre-backs at the back most of the time. You know, you've got a little bit of cover. You've got Rice that can cover a lot of ground, you know. Maybe he's still got some PTSD from the first season when you competed, but I'm looking at him thinking, bro, that was more mentality. That wasn't really your defense. It was more just they froze. You know what I mean? Now you've got players that have got a little bit more experience actually getting a little bit closer.
You know what it is, Don? At the moment, bro, right? What we're doing, or what we seem to be doing, and I hope this don't continue, but at the moment, it seems to be like if you're over 6'4", we keep you on the pitch and you'll just line up and wait for the ball to come in from Saka and hopefully one of you will get it on your bonce and put it in. That ain't what I waited 5 years and £700 million deep to do, man. So what are we doing this for? Like, for me, this has got to change now. And we've seen Mikel Arteta do it. In 22-23, we were scintillating football, mate. Back end of last season, in the like January onwards, when we come back from that Dubai trip, we were putting 4, 5s and 6 past them. So the players can do it. At the moment, he seems to be so negative about it. I'm so like reluctant to want to go to attacking just in case we concede a goal. Well, we're conceding goals. We've actually conceded a hell of a lot more than we did this time last season. So it's not working at the moment. He's got to change it up, man.
100%. Javon, how you feeling going into the game, bro?
Well, if I'm being honest, what's the word? I'm not on the fence, but is it cautiously optimist or something like that? I'm very cautious going into the game. I'm it's hard to explain because in the back of my head, I'm thinking about that United performance where we shot ourselves in the foot. We didn't play to standards. We didn't play to where we're supposed to or what we expect to play to. And I'm also looking at on the other side. Arsenal can be a good team on their day. Let me get into it. Firstly, I expected Liverpool to patch up in that game and demolish them. But the game I saw from Arsenal was unexpected. And I'm saying, okay, if that version of Arsenal turn up, we're cooked. Like it or not, when it comes onto these big games, we either freeze, quickie in our boots, and not play to how we're expected to play. That's my biggest issue with Chelsea right now. Doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the tactics, but how we play in these big games. Another point, when it comes on to Arsenal, throw all the form from both sides out the window. It's a London derby. It's blue versus red. Do we go back and forth all the time when it comes on to titles, when it comes on to biggest trophies win? It's a London derby. Anything can happen in a London derby. And I saw a stat today, right? Which is very concerning from our end. You know, for the last 3 seasons before Arsenal play us, they've been on a losing run. They either draw a couple games prior to our games, or they either lose a couple games prior to our game. And when it comes on to our game, they win, and then they go on this magical run. That is concerning for me. Now, let me let me bottle all of that up and kick it through the window. We must win this game on Sunday. I cannot go into another international break with my chest on the floor, with me not being able to banter anybody.
So how are we going to win this? How are we going to win this game? What do we need to do to win this game, bro?
The biggest thing we need to do to win this game, we cannot have the same speed of play or the same pace of play that we had against United, because that will feed directly into Arsenal hands, right? Yes, we may have a better midfield, but their midfield are not scrub, right? The people that Arsenal have in the midfield that could potentially start to them can cause damage, right? And not only the speed of play has to be fast, we cannot, and I repeat, we cannot be susceptible to giving away set pieces. And I'm not just talking corner kicks. They can put a ball in on free kicks. And what I mean when I say by that is they're more aerially dominant than us. That is not
Right.
a conversation to be had. They got it aerially, right? So what we have to do, we have to mitigate things like that, and we have to play football. Our midfielders have to get on the ball. We have to play properly. Sanchez, if you're in goal, you can't be Charity FC. You can't be, you know what, let me give Arsenal a goal. We can't be doing that.
You know he's gonna do that though. You know he done it last year. He done it for Rice.
Listen, I'm telling you how we can win this game. Let me finish. So, if we're gonna play out from the back, our passes from the back has to be on point. The passes into, because I'm gonna tell you this is exactly what's gonna happen. On Sunday, Sanchez is gonna be on the ball and he's going to look to find Lavia in that first phase when Lavia starts. Right? When Lavia's on the ball, his pass out from the first phase has to be quick enough to Caicedo.
Yep.
Caicedo has to find Palmer if Palmer plays fast enough. They have to get the ball into our front men fast enough to enable those 1v1s. And then on the 1v1s, I'm going to back Neto. If Noni starts, and if Noni decides to actually take on his man, I'm going to back Noni to beat his man. If we can get the ball fast enough into our front players, then we have a chance. If we can get the ball fast enough into Jackson, he can. You know what Jackson is on a half turn. We're not even going to have that debate. Jackson hold up play on the half turn is brilliant, scintillating. If we can get those aspects out from Jackson, then we have a chance to win this game.
100%, bro.
And I expect
100%.
to dominate in the midfield.
And Ziad, for
aerially-
you, bro. Nah, exactly, bro. Listen, you're spot on with that one, man. Aerially, we know Arsenal, they're tall, bro. You know they've got Goliaths all over the pitch. But Ziad, who is it that you're looking at from Arsenal's team right now, bro, that you're a bit cautious about, and how would you go about the game in terms of setting up to beat them?
Bro, I think we got to take the game to Arsenal. I think the best I've seen Enzo Maresca play, set up the team. The best moments I've seen in games against Liverpool is when we take the game to the opposition and play our own football. You know, none of this being scared. Look at us at Man United. For some reason, we were scared. We weren't really confident going attacking them. We were slow. We got to take the game to them. You know, you got to play your own football, believe in your system, believe in the players you go out there and cause them some trouble. Even with Pochettino last season, who's a clown, we took the game to Arsenal. We almost got a result. We were
running guys off the pitch, bro. We fucking made Zinchenko have to come off at half time. Sterling was cooking.
It's just you got to set up the tempo as well from the start, because the reason I'm not confident for this game is because our record against any top 6 side, apart from Tottenham, but like, you know what I mean, like, come on, man. I don't think
they're Tottenham.
And I mean, it's Tottenham, but apart from Tottenham, like, we're shocking against every other team. For some reason, and it doesn't matter how good we are or how bad they are, it doesn't matter. We always crumble. So that's why I'm not really bothered about how bad Arsenal have been recently or how toxic it may be in their fan base.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get slapped. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nah. We're not getting slapped.
No. Honestly,
I wouldn't be, if we get popped off the park or our players look clueless, our players freeze, Maresca makes stupid decisions. I've seen it too many times. It don't matter what player is playing for Chelsea or who's the manager in the dugout. Chelsea players against the big teams freeze. And they don't know what to do, and we don't know how to get a result.
And he's right. And based on what he's saying, he's basically saying what I'm saying. It's not even necessarily on the opposition. It's on us. Like, why do we have to freeze? If we don't freeze, then we play better. If we play better, we can come away with a result, a win, a draw. You know,
100%, bro. You're spitting facts, you lot. Because last year I was saying, bro, I'm not scared of other teams. I'm scared of ourselves, right? What we're gonna do. You know, Rory, how do you feel hearing that, bro? Because it's facts, man. What these lot are saying.
In terms of what? How do I feel about?
In terms of, like, you know, Chelsea potentially just not turning up, just freezing against the bigger teams.
You've struggled a little bit against big teams so far this season. I thought the only one that I was watching that I thought was really disappointing was the United game. Like Liverpool and City, especially City, it was opening game of the season. So I don't think you are going to freeze. There are just question marks over some of the bigger players that you expect to shine over how they've done a big game. So Cole Palmer is the one that I'm looking at. And again, this depends on what we can do. Like if we got Declan Rice starting and we could park Declan Rice on Cole Palmer for the game, that would make me quite comfortable. So yeah, I think there are some players that have definitely got a lot of respect this season. And to be fair, towards the end of last season, Jackson, Caicedo, they were definitely kicking on at the end of last season, and they've continued this season. But yeah, I do think the big game question mark is still over their heads. So they've got a point to prove, you know. And this is Arsenal are a bit of a wounded animal at the moment, and there's a big opportunity for them to take advantage. So yeah, we'll see.
110%. And Lee, for you, who would you say are the two biggest threats that you're looking at for Chelsea? Because I know you're going to say Palmer's one of them. You know what I mean? But it'll be interesting to hear who your second one is, bro. Who are you looking at and you're thinking, fucking hell, man, we got to make sure we close that guy down.
Well, obviously, like Neto's been doing well for you, like, and I think Casido in midfield. I think, like, I agree with what Dan said earlier on. Midfield is where it's going to be won or lost. I think, like, both teams are, if everybody's available, very, very strong. And I think, like, midfield is always a key area. But I think that if Arsenal can get the midfield domination, then, like, we can perhaps start to get the ball going a bit forward and things like that. So they're Caicedo is one of the players that I do really rate. I think he's top class. I really do. And I think like Rory said it, like, I think that their form last season went under the radar a little bit, how good they were from January to the end of the season as well. Like, because obviously there was all the talk about Arsenal, Man City were on good runs. Chelsea were on a decent one as well. I think they just lost a couple of games. I think they was the third best team from January onwards, and they don't win nothing from that, but they were starting to make progress, and it's always going to be a tough game. Listen, if Arsenal turn up to how we know we can turn up, then, I think we'll be okay. But how
does Arteta get you lot scoring? How does Arteta get you lot scoring, Lee? How would you set up to make you lot click again, bro?
My setup would be the same back four as played the last couple. The midfield would be, if fit, Rice, Partey and Odegaard. If Odegaard's not fit, then Wanyeri comes in. Saka, obviously, like Havertz up top, and either or Martinelli or Trossard. I would go with Martinelli because I think that if Chelsea do push up, his pace might be a threat for us, So that's how I would go, and then get playing like we was. Be a bit braver, be a bit more braver in the final third. I think the midfield that we've been playing with Havertz in there and dropping off has just not worked, as I said earlier on.
Yeah,
be brave, get on the ball and take it to Chelsea a little bit. Listen, we do it at home. We're a little bit more, like against Liverpool, we had enough chances to win that game. In the end, you look back on that and you say it was a fair point because of the injuries and suspensions we had at the back. But our back four now, as it proved against Inter, is pretty strong. With Raya in there, you don't listen. They're all very, Ben White on his day is outstanding defender. So is Saliba. So is Gabriel.
White's been poor this season, though. White's been poor this season, though, innit? He's been poor.
Who's that?
Ben White. I think he's been.
Yeah, he's not been 100% fit, but like he's still a top defender when he's on his game. If they're all on their form, you don't need players protecting them for another two players protecting. They're good enough. They're good enough. You know what I mean? Like Partey in the midfield on his own is good enough. And Rice. They don't need to be protecting that back four as much. So be braver, be bolder, be a little bit more ambitious going forward. We know we can do it. And when you get into those chances, we've got to be a little bit more ruthless than we have been, So I feel at times, I don't know how the other Arsenal boys feel about it. I feel that we get into good positions in the final third, and then our decision making isn't as good as it should be, and that's why we don't get the chances that we're getting. Like we overhit the cross, or we put it, cut it back and no one's there, or we, just be a little bit more ruthless. And I mean that in a not being horrible, just make sure that the pass is right. I think even on Wednesday, a couple of options we just found the wrong option. So be a bit more ruthless and we'll be okay.
That was our problem as well. Yeah, that was our problem as well last week. We just constantly kept breaking down our own attacks. And that's the thing, though, Potts, like, looking at your fullbacks, I've always said, for me, Arsenal's weakness at the back, right, is your fullbacks, because Gabriel and Saliba last year were arguably the best centre-back pairing in Europe, right? This year, they've been dead, like, in terms of, okay, not dead, but they haven't been as good as last season. This year, I'll probably say Van Dijk and Konate has been the best pairing, right? But I'm looking at Madueke and Neto in this game, who I reckon will start, and I need them running at those two, yeah? Against United, we weren't really giving the ball to Madueke, and when he did get it, he wasn't really doing enough. And then Neto was trying to, do something, but again, the intensity overall wasn't good enough in that game. But looking at Arsenal, I just don't see you lot trying to come out and play. I think you're going to try to sit back and counter us. That's how I think you're going to try to win this game, Potts.
Yeah, it's certainly been that way the last few games, bro. What a start most of this season. I don't think we've come out and played. I thought we did in the first half against Liverpool, and I think the first half against PSG. Other than that, I've struggled to see Arsenal come out to play, if I'm honest. It's been very much compact, resolute, going away to Villa, going away to Spurs, going away to Man City, probably chucking Atalanta and certainly Inter Milan into that. I can kind of understand why you might change your tactics for those games because they're hard places to go, right? But when you're doing it against the other teams so far this season, you're starting to question it now. And I'm fighting we didn't do that game, Bournemouth, Newcastle, what's happening here? And that's when people were starting to say, oh, Paella, Pulis and Stoke football. I was like, calm down, like we'll give it time. And unfortunately, it's continued, man. So I need to see Arteta step it up, if I'm honest with you. In terms of the fullbacks, I actually agree with you. And I think for Chelsea as well, it's going to be interesting because hopefully Cucurella will play because Saka loves a game against him and turns him into a pretzel every time. So I'm hoping
he didn't like it in the Euros, did he? He didn't like it in the final, did he? He didn't like it in the Euros final, did he?
Let's concentrate on Chelsea Arsenal, man. I don't care about England. I don't care about England. I mean, but
no, Maresca might be Reece. No, Maresca might be Reece. So.
Yeah, it might be Reece James from what I hear. I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, Reece James is back on the scene now for the next couple of weeks until he goes out for the season again. And and then we got and then the other side. But no, real talk. I think it's going to be interesting to see what we do at fullback as well. Obviously, Ben White and Timber, I imagine, will continue. And then obviously you've got your guys as well. So I think that Pedro Neto. Do you ask Lee who do you think would be? My thoughts on Pedro Neto. I wanted him at Arsenal. He's a baller.
He would have been class. He would have been starting for you lot. He would have been starting.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant, mate, and can play right or left. So I think that's what I guess Sancho is out still, right?
He was
ill.
So I
don't know if he's back.
It'll be Pedro Neto and Madueke then against us. So yeah, man. Hopefully we're looking at Saka, but I'm also looking at Martinelli as well because his performances. I think he's actually getting a little bit of a kind of not scapegoat because his performances have been really poor, but he's not the only one that's been bad, is what I'll say. He's not the only one who's been poor. And we're looking at Trossard performances and no one's talking about that, but they're happy to have a go at Martinelli still. I don't quite get that.
I've been hearing it. Bad people cooking Trossard though, Potts. Everyone's cooking him.
My point is rightly so they should be. My point is that it's not just Martinelli that's been bad.
The go-to was Martinelli. The go-to has been Martinelli all season.
Yeah, Martinelli has not been bad as Trossard though. Like he was bad against Newcastle, but I think Trossard has been shocking, bro.
Yeah,
then again, you're setting him up to fail. You're playing him in a role where he's not comfortable. Like that's not the manager.
I agree. So, it's totally on the manager, man. And just quickly, I don't want to bring Europe into it because obviously this isn't about Europe, but when is Arteta going to score a goal away from home in Europe? That's 4 away games now where we haven't got a bloody goal. And we've lost every single one of them, I think, or drew one. So this has got to get better as well, man. So I think there's some of it's a mentality thing. Some of it is looking at his style and his tactics now because I'm starting to question where we're going here at the start of this season. And I've always been one of those that's kind of never quite been convinced for him to get us across the line. And it just keeps giving me more and more evidence that he's not going to, because I now he's seems to changing again. Like I've seen 3 seasons, 3 different styles of play. Like what one is it? Just pick one and go with it. Because the first season we had where we were absolutely scintillating and everyone thought Arsenal going to be top 4. Oh my God, they keep winning. Like we really didn't have to completely change our whole style of play. We just need to add a bit more quality into it and go again. And it feels like we've gone way too far the other way now, man.
Yeah, 100%, man. Go, Jamie.
I have a quick question. League judges and mention Ranieri. Do you think this Sunday we could see what Ranieri finally start in the Odegaard position?
Listen, if Odegaard's not fit, it's got to happen now. It should have happened 3 or 4 games ago, in my opinion. But I think that he's there to replace Odegaard. He's the nearest thing to Odegaard, the way he does things and that. And it's just criminal, if I'll be honest, why he's not been in the side, and criminal because Havertz has gone into and is not quite the same, and then you've lost everything that you've wanted up top, where we've got no focal point up top. So basically, by not playing him, it's taken 2 positions out, and I think, if I'll be honest, I think that Arteta has been stubborn with it as well. It's like oh, everybody's telling me to play Wanyeri, so I won't, sort of thing. I know it probably isn't, but that's how it seems. But you know, it's just I look at it and go like one thing, and play against Preston. He really, really impressed at Preston. I know people are going to say it's Preston, but he did really, really impress. Jesus done okay. So then you've got the decision to make on Wednesday, who plays. On the back of what I see at Preston, Wanyeri's is the obvious choice, but he went with Jesus. And I can't, believe why he keeps doing that, So for me, I don't care if he's 17, 18, 54. If he's good enough, he plays. And that's how it should be now.
And that's gonna give us something to think about, man. I think with Nwaneri, he's young, so he's quite nippy with the ball. You know what I'm saying? You can see the energy, and sometimes, bro, you just got to throw these guys in, man. I think Arteta hasn't learned, because if you don't remember, funny enough, when you lot played us, Rory, right? When we played you lot, when Smith Rowe started, William was meant to be starting that game, and he got injured or he was ill, and then Smith Rowe started, and I'm sure he scored that game as well, bro. Yeah, you ended up beating us, I believe, that game. Yeah. That's what you've got to do at times, bro. Just throw these guys in. Nwaneri doesn't look like the type of player to be scared. He just wants to play his game. Yeah, he wants to impress. He looks like, I'll be real, he looks like Mandem. You know what I mean? He looks like he's from the ends. He wants to show what he can do. You know what I mean? But Ziad, in terms of obviously
He's from Mandem,
bro, I'm wondering if it's another Ten Hag Amadiado scenario. Just don't want to play him.
It better not be. I'm telling you now, it better not be, bruv. All right, but Ziad though, bro, Maresca, the in-game management this game has got to be a lot better, right? Because I can't be seeing us leaving the likes of Nkuku and that on the bench, Felix and that on the bench, if the game is not going our way like what it did last week, bro. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been poor. I'm not gonna lie to you. Listen, a lot of Chelsea fans have been happy with this season so far. I think it's been okay. I think that's about it. Anyone that says it's been terrible is lying. Anyone that says it's been brilliant is lying. But one thing I keep noticing, which is a pattern, is Enzo's substitutions. His in-game management is not as great as we thought it was. Because at the start, I was like, yeah, this guy don't care. If you're bad, come off at half-time, which he done a couple times, which is fair enough. But when you've got Jackson on the pitch, who hasn't been contributing as much as he did last season, and you've got Nkunku on the bench, and even Felix on the bench, you've got to use these players. You got to use these quality players. And Maresca's mentioned it, that he's going to use Felix in the pockets with Palmer and whatnot. But that's all fine. Like, we need them off the bench when the game's not going our way, and especially on Sunday where we need to win this game. Apparently, it could end title hopes for Arsenal. Make a statement. Make a statement for your players. Make someone for you as a manager and for the club, and you utilize these players on the bench. Because if you don't, it's a waste. Because I promise you now, Nkunku is a quality player, and if he continues this way, the guy will just leave at the end of the season. He'll have his options, and he will end up, and he'll just leave. So Maresca needs to improve in that. It's becoming a pattern every single game. I've been criticizing him for his in-game management and the lack of using the bench. So hopefully he improves, and hopefully we can get the result. Because otherwise he's just gonna have to hold the smoke, because it's not being good enough, man.
Yeah, I think his in-game management's been good for me, but over this little period that we've had, like with the tougher fixtures, it hasn't been great. But Javon, do you think that if we beat Arsenal this weekend, that's their title hopes done, bro?
Brother. You see, if we win Sunday, we will be the most shameless lot on the internet. And it's an international break. Oh my lord, oh my days. But no, for real, if we beat Arsenal on Sunday, I think it genuinely becomes a top 4 race for them. Here's the thing. I genuinely want to believe it'll be over for them, but because if we factor in what we've seen in the past, they could easily get their injured players back and go on a run. And that's the difference between us and them, for example. People are going to ask why, if we beat Arsenal, the title race are over, but I'm kind of contradicting myself. We've never been on a run. We haven't. It's been a while since we've been on a run. Arsenal could get their fit players back, go on a run. Liverpool are not going to remain perfect. City are not going to remain perfect. We've seen their defensive issues. And it's up for 3rd place and 4th place. So, yes, but yet it's still yet to be seen. Because Liverpool are going to drop points and City are going to drop points. So, yeah, that's my answer.
How about you, Rory? If we beat you this weekend, Rory, do you think it's done?
Yeah, the issue, obviously, it depends on what other results happen. But if you just assume that City and Liverpool win, I think you beating us would then we'd be what, like 10 behind Liverpool and 8 behind City. At that point, you're not even relying on one team that you've got to catch, and maybe they've like the odds of both Liverpool and City dropping off that much for us to catch up. I think it would more than likely be done at that point, which would be a shame. And then there is a danger that you get sucked into a top 4 race. So it is a massive, massive game.
What would it take for you personally, Rory, to say, do you know what, end of the season, Arteta's got to go? Like, what have you got to see this season where it's like, do you know what, that's it, he's got to go?
I was saying this earlier. I think it would be very difficult for me. I would need to see 2 seasons of regression. So if we regress this season and then we start next season and it's bad again and he hasn't figured it out over the summer, for me, that would be when I would call it. I know I'm sort of in the like zone of I would give him a lot more time than I think most people would. So I appreciate that for a lot of people, like if we didn't finish top 4 this season, that would be enough. I'd rather give it 2 seasons of regression just to see if he could change it around. I think he probably knows that he's made some mistakes in terms of the way he's built the squad. I think he's overcooked it in terms of going for big, dominant dual winners, and he's kind of left us a bit short when it comes to the small space technical players. So I would back him to try and figure it out. But yeah, that's kind of what it would take.
100%. And you touch upon a good point as well, because I saw Jamie Carragher speaking about this last week, actually. He spoke about the transfers that he was bringing in at the beginning of his time. The likes of Vieira, older guards, quite technical players. And then now when you look at your team, bro, it's just a bunch of dual winners. You know what I mean? Why do you think he's done that, Leo? Why do you think he's gone down that route?
A bunch of dual winners. Who's that then? Who's a dual winner?
Marino.
Marino. Come on. We haven't seen enough of Marino to make a call on that. Like, one, he didn't have no pre-season. 2, he's had an injury. He's come back probably a little bit too quick, in my opinion. I'll take that if Declan Rice is a dual winner. I think he's a little bit more than that. And we've still got some technically very, very good players. So,
Were you happy with his window, though? Were you happy with the window in the summer?
No, I think we've probably left ourselves 1 or 2 short, if I'll be honest. But listen, I think Arsenal have got a policy, whether you agree with it or not. If they can't get who they want, they will prefer to wait than go and get somebody else. And so I think that's a bit of a problem, But listen, no matter who you get in and whatever, injuries have took their toll on us a little bit. As I say, that's not an excuse; it's a fact. And I think for failure at the moment, I think Rory says it right. I think that Arteta has made mistakes this season, and the problem that I've got with Arteta at the moment is when things are going well, it's great because we've got your players back. There's not many teams better than Arsenal when everybody's fit and going. But it's when you've got things not quite right. All this talk about trophies and things like that, and it does make me laugh. And that, Arsenal fans are all saying, "Yeah, let's have a trophy." I remember when we won the FA Cup. We lost 5-1 at Liverpool, 6-0 at Chelsea. Losing to Spurs, losing to Man United, going to every single big team in the top 6 and getting a spanking away from home. But we won the FA Cup, and everybody weren't happy then. It's all about context as far as I'm concerned. If Arsenal win the FA Cup this season and finish second in the league by 2 points, not a problem. You have to accept it that City or whoever will be better. I'm also getting this thing that really makes me like, we don't want Liverpool to win it because it makes you look bad. Don't make that. Not as far as I'm concerned. If Arsenal can't win the title this season, I want it to be Liverpool. Not because of it's going to embarrass Arsenal. It's because I like the way that they run their football club. So that's how I would see it. But if this carries on. As it
How
is
about if we finish above you, though? How about
Chelsea should never finish above us after because the gap last season was massive, so they shouldn't finish. So if they do, and that's what I'm going to get to, if Arsenal are finishing 5th or 6th, then I think there's more than a meeting to have, like, you know. But I think at the moment, like, you know, this is why this is game so important. I think if Arteta
100%.
does it, for instance, if Arsenal come in fifth in the league, I think there's a conversation for him to go. But, you know, I don't think we will come fifth or sixth at this moment in time.
So what if you guys just finish fourth? Let's say you guys finish fourth and make it to a cup final, but don't win it. Is that enough to keep him for another year?
Nah, he goes.
Okay.
For
You
me,
can't,
it's
you
like-
can't have a trophyless season, man. Trophyless season again and coming fourth. Like the bare minimum expectation is he wins a trophy and he challenges City. That's what.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Dan. Yeah, I think you're right. He's got to.
That's got to be the bare minimum.
He
for
has
me.
got
If
to challenge.
you come in fourth and you're like, I don't know, 15 points off of the top and you're not winning a trophy. I can't see regression at the club, man. You've got to go and then you go and get someone else. And I think that there is this real, like, I don't know, people do not want to have that conversation about what happens after Arteta. Arteta is going to go one day. Like, it might be in 15 years, it might be in 15 days. I have no idea, right? But he is going to leave at some stage. Do we all have a funeral when he goes, or do we just move on like we did with Wenger and Emery? Like, this is the way it is. Like, Arteta has done a great job to get us challenging. If he isn't the guy to get us across the line, you go find the guy who is. And then people will throw a name at me, Simone Inzaghi. He might be crap. But then what happens then? You get rid of him and you go and get the right guy. That's what you do. You start to get through management until something happens. So that's the way I believe it. I've never been a problem with sacking managers. Some people don't like it. Arsenal went to sack managers.
United have been doing that though. But United have been doing that, and there's no guarantee. Like you can, that's the issue with just keep sacking them. But how long do you do that for before you find the right one? Like it's not always just a guarantee that eventually you'll stumble on the right one.
And Rory, Arsenal not
we don't do that. Arsenal never sack managers.
No,
they never have done.
We're back the manager. We're back the manager to, you know, to that. And at this moment in time, I don't care what anybody says. You can say what you want about him and all that. The last 2 seasons, he's got a bit of a little credit in the bank as far as I'm concerned. And that's how I see it, like, you know. And it depends. I think Dan's right. If Arsenal end up fourth and they're 4 points off the league or something like that, then I can see it. But if they're 15, 16 points off the league, you know, that's not acceptable after what they've done, because they're going to have to look at a lot of other things. And I look at this moment in time, and a lot of people are starting to blame the transfer window. It ain't I don't think you can blame the transfer window. It's on one man's shoulders. You know what I mean? He's the one that's picked this team at this moment in time. He's the one that said he didn't need a striker, then takes his striker and puts him in midfield. So there's context to everything that you want to say. Like, you know, he's under pressure at this moment in time. Don't think that he's not. And he's got to get it right. And good managers, good coaches, when it matters, get it right. Get it right, Mikel. Beat Chelsea. Then get on a run and let's see where we are at Christmas. And if we're not, you know, if we're 5th or 6th at Christmas, then you know, I think there's conversations that got to be had. But at this moment in time, I feel that, you know, we come second last year on a run of unbelievable form. We was 2 points off of winning the league. All right, we've had a little bit of a blip. When we look at the games that we've had, I think it's criminal to be saying, like, get rid of him, question him. But not get rid of him at this moment in time. I don't like this thing about it all the time. Like, I don't want to go down the route with Arsenal fans, because I'm starting to do it now. Oh, you Mikel in or Mikel out, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a dance, and I don't want to, you know.
It's your fan base that started that in and out stuff. Man.
Yeah,
I
don't think it's it's good.
No, listen, you're spitting facts, man. And listen, my boy Dan's probably listening. I spoke to Dan in pre-season. I said, yo, listen, if Arteta doesn't win anything this season, are you still going to do the whole context thing? Because it's another year, bro. Yeah? In school, in the UK, people, you're in school for 5 years. Arteta's nearly been at Arsenal now for 5 years in January. Is it January or December? It's nearly 5 years. Yeah?
December.
That's a fucking long time. Like, cool,
he
won the
graduated
FA Cup.
and asked in a trophy.
Bro, he won the FA Cup initially, Javon. Cool, fair enough. But this squad that he's put together haven't won anything. And it's going to get to a point where Saliba starts to look at Real Madrid and say, do you know what? They want me. Yeah, Saka, he might start looking at his contract now and thinking, yo, I don't know if I want to stay on. You know, right now, Man City, they need a little bit of fresh blood. Let me go Man City. I'm guaranteed trophies over there. You know what I'm saying? Other players start looking around Odegaard. He might start stalling on certain things, right? So it's very important because you've seen this before, your club boys. You've seen Clichy leaving. You've seen Nasri leaving. You've seen Van Persie leaving. You've seen Ashley Cole leaving. And they win trophies elsewhere. Yeah? It will be damning if Chelsea finish above you lot because we've been in the mud for 3 years. Yeah? And we've still won something more recent to you. We've still got to a final more recent to you. We've still got to a semi-final more recent to you. Yeah? Just last season, boys. You know what I'm saying? You have to finish above us. You have to finish above us. Yeah, they have to finish above us. They must. Yeah?
100%.
And, yeah, the pressure is on them this weekend. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Bro, we're here for top 4. That's all we're here for, man.
Yeah.
The pressure's on you lot to win the league. We're just here for top
Arsenal,
4.
man. You're turning into Arsenal, you
No,
Chelsea
man,
boys.
listen.
Now. What's happening?
No.
That weren't enough, man. I thought top 4 weren't enough. You're laughing at us.
Hold on.
No, but this is top 4 in the FA Cup here, in the Conference League.
Hold
But
on.
listen, you guys gotta win the league.
Into Arsenal of old, man, under Wenger. I tell
Listen,
you
if we
this.
win the league, we win the league.
No. Let's get this straight. It's a progression type thing, right? We finished 12th one season. We finished 6th. No, this
when
season
we did it, it was on the top 4. Now these Chelsea boys are like, oh, we're just transitioning.
No. It's a different for you guys.
When Arsenal were doing it, we
finished
were
fifth.
laughed at, man. What's happening here?
No. For you
The
guys,
difference
it
is
was
we won the
fifth.
Champions League on the way, bro. That's the difference, man. We progressed over the Champions League.
No, it's a progression.
Not why you're
type thing.
transitioning.
It's a progression type thing because for you guys, it's 5th, second. It's time for you to bring home a trophy. For us, it's 6th, 12th, 4th, challenge for the title. So that's why next season I hear it. This season, top 4, and we move. Right? So
But I'm not gonna lie to you, to give credit to Arteta, I don't think the squad is that great. So as much as they, to go to the wire against Man City, I think when you compare the squads, I think it's credit to Arteta. And you talk about if you get rid of him and you bring someone in, is he going to be able to get over the line and do as good as Arteta with that squad? Because I personally don't think that's a great squad they have. And I think Arteta's getting the best out of
He built it.
I was about to say that he assembled that
them.
squad. I have a genuine question for the Arsenal guys. Why during the summer you guys prioritize removing people like Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira and not try to add quality in terms of attacking depth? Not necessarily starters, but coverage.
I agree with that, Javon. I think what I was frustrated about the most was when that window shut. I said to Lee and the boys, I said, they ain't serious now. We ain't serious. We ain't winning it because we ain't done enough. We can't bring in Raheem Sterling ahead of Reece Nelson. I'd rather be bringing on Reece Nelson again. He doesn't even want to be bringing on Raheem Sterling now. Zinchenko's coming on ahead of him. So for me, that weren't enough. Then you look at what we've done with Marino and Calafiori, who I think are squad builders and squad padders, which is great. But where's the kind of marquee? Where's the Declan Rice type signing? We've got Champions League now. Where's the world-class signings? And I feel like there needed to be an Isak, a Victor Gyökeres, maybe even that Marmoush brother from Frankfurt who's bagging them in for us to go to that next level. And we haven't done that. We haven't done enough, man. We're 2 players short, an attacking midfielder and a striker. Otherwise, I think it would have been an 8 out of 10 window, but instead it was like a 5, if that. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. One thing
I agree with that. I just think that Arsenal should be now. Once you're in the Champions League, I don't know how Rory thinks about this and Dan. Once you're in the Champions League and you're paying out, like we do when we go to the game now, championship money, like season tickets and all that, there should be a big signing at the end of it every season. Because for 3 years they're telling you, oh, it's all about Champions League. It's all about Champions League. Well, we've been in the Champions League 2 years. Yes, Declan Rice come in, which is fantastic, but we've been in the Champions League now for a year, and I do think that we should have brought in a big signing. And I don't know about this fair play crap. I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal should be bringing in a big player every season. Like Neto was available.
Yeah. What's working on that deal?
Football, conference football. I know what I want to play.
Lee was working on that Neto deal for 3 months, and none of us knew a word about it, bro. It didn't get leaked anywhere. All of a sudden, we're just seeing Fabrice Hawkins, I think it was. He put it out, and then Fabrizio started to say, Neto, here we go, and that. It was mad. But Rory, just to finish off before we go through predictions, right? Obviously, Edu's gone now. For me, Arsenal don't really make any shrewd signings. Like, for example, if you look at Chelsea, we've signed Vega. We signed him for 12 million. I think it's been quite good for us. And he was the guy that replaced Calafiori as well. Defensively in the wide areas, from what I'm seeing from Calafiori and Vega actually looks better than him. And he was a lot cheaper, right? We're bringing in players that a lot of people have never really sort of heard about. Omarodian, another one. You're seeing him banging right now. I know he didn't come to Chelsea. I didn't want him. But he seems to be scoring a lot of goals. So when it comes to sporting director, bro, have you thought about who you would like to come in? I'm seeing you lot linked to the West Ham guy.
Well, I don't want a Chelsea one.
yeah. No, to be honest, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know a good sporting director from a bad one. To be honest, I don't know that industry well. Like you hear names and people that have done good jobs, but that business. Most of it, to be honest, it's a face anyway. Edu was just the face for a massive team of scouts and data analysts that are behind him. So that was always the thing. People, if we have a good window, or Edu's cooking, we have a bad window, it's Edu out, and it's like, well, he's just the face of it, really. So, and it sounds like, especially in the window that we just had, his hands were pretty much tied behind his back. Like he'd agreed a deal for Calafiori really early on, and the club kept waiting and waiting to hope that we could make a big sale. And it was only when it turned out Real Madrid were potentially going to go for Calafiori that the club shit themselves basically and got the deal done. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's good to replace him. But one thing I will say is that there were rumors of like Thomas Rositzky coming back or someone. I don't really want it to be another ex-player. I feel like you can lean too much into ex-players coming back, and I'd rather it was someone that doesn't know Arteta, doesn't know the club, knows how to do their job, and comes in and has a bit of authority. But I don't know who that is.
Great point.
Yeah, 100%, boys. And let me start with you then, Rory. Prediction for the game, bro. And if you've got a scorer as well, let us know.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal with Kai Havertz scoring both.
Oh, God almighty, bro.
Bro, if that happens...
But he better get booed, by the way. I'm going to that game. I'm booing him myself. I don't care if I'm the only one.
Bro, I said this for the United game, and I'm going to say it for this. If Kai Havertz scores a brace, I will simultaneously implode and explode at the same time. It's impossible, but it will happen.
Bro, you know how rattled I was when I saw that at the Emirates in person, bro. I was honestly, when he scored, I just looked around me. There was just red chairs. I had Lee Gunner FaceTiming me at the time. I'm thinking, yo, it's long for me today. You know what I mean? But Pops, how about you, bro?
I'll stick with what I've said the whole time. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I'd love us to win, man. I think we have to win. I don't think a draw is good enough, but I do go 1-1. Scorers, I'll go for Bakayo. And I will say, because it's you, Don, I will say Nicholas Jackson will score against us.
Bro, I need him to turn up. I need him to turn up because last week he was quiet. How about you, Lee?
I'm going 2-0 to the Arsenal. Havertz in the first half. Jorginho coming on with a last-minute penalty. There you go.
No way. Do you know what? We've actually given away a few penalties this year, you know. I wouldn't say we can't give one away.
And if I don't celebrate it, I'll be gunning for them, like, you know.
How about you, Ziad?
Jorginho with his shirt off, running around Stamford Bridge, you know. I mean, like, you know.
Jorginho's actually got respect. We like him. We like Jorginho. It's fucking Havertz we don't like.
Oh, right? Well, I hope Havertz gets both in.
Ziad, how about you, bro?
Listen, I think 2-2, man. I don't think we're gonna win. I think it could be a good game that could go to the very end. You know, last minute. You know, crazy game that we had last season. But yeah, 2-2, and then in terms of goal scorers, I say Jackson and Neto. Let's see if Neto can get on the score sheet for the Premier League.
I pray, bro. How about you, Javon?
Honestly, we're going into the international break, and we gotta win one of these big games. We have to turn up in one of these big games, and we're at home. So I'm gonna go with a crazy scoreline of 3-1 Chelsea, up the Chels. In terms of goal scorers, I don't give a rat's ass who scores. All right, just get me the 3 points, so I can be shameless for the weeks that we're in international break.
No, 100. I've gone for a 2-1 as well, man. Listen, Palmer turns up in big games. There's examples of it last season. This year, cool, fair enough. Against Liverpool, he was Casper. Cool. Against United, he didn't play well. Again, I think that was down to the setup as well as him as well. But this time around, bro, he needs to get man of the match again. Yeah? He needs to get man of the match. I want to see man of the match being one of our players, not one of Arsenal's. Because that means that we've actually done our job. You know what I mean? So I'm saying 2-1 Chelsea. We must, man. Ziad, if you can plug me with a ticket, please let me know, bro, because I'm trying to find one. It's a struggle at the minute. You know what I'm saying? But listen, it's a busy Friday night. People have got to go. I've got to go as well. I've got to stream in a sec as well. But Lee, love for hopping on, man. Let them know they can find you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, Lee Judges TV. Also on Instagram and Twitter, Lee Mark Judges. So But listen, I'm not very nice to Chelsea fans, so don't worry about it.
Now, you lot, make sure you follow him up, man. And Rory, love for hopping on, man.
No worries. Yeah,
Let them know
Rory
where
Talks
they can find you,
Football
bro.
everywhere. Yeah, Rory Talks Football. Not to be confused with Rory Jennings. That's
No,
every platform you can find.
Brilliant. And how about you, Potts? Love for hopping on, man. Let them know where
Nah,
they can find
come
you.
on, man. Pleasure. Great to stream with you all. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe on this one. Don's flying, plugging content. It's great to see. Come follow me on Football's 12th Man or on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, etc. on Dan Arsenal 87. Big up to you, man.
Big up, man. And Javon, let them know, bro. Love for hopping on.
Thank you for having me again. I was available for you, bro. Follow me at the Panellists podcast. You know, like, share, subscribe at 1K. Match reviews, previews, tactical.
Oh, you hit 1K now, yeah?
Yeah, bro. We're
Oh,
moving.
brilliant.
We're moving.
Nice one, bro.
Yeah,
nice
tactical.
one, man. Ziad, I'll be on Ziad's channel next week at some point. Me and Ziad have been going back and forth. It's just at the minute works peak. You know what I mean? But let them know, bro. Love for your time.
Big up, man. Big up to everyone that's locked in, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, Ziad Zone. I got a stream later on tonight. I'm touching on 2K as well, man. So yeah, big up to Don, man. Big up to everyone on the panel. It's a pleasure.
And listen, love for the support every single time, people, man. 5.2K. We're gonna get to 10K soon, people. You know what I mean? But listen, up the fucking Chels, and you lot, please don't embarrass me again, bro. Don't fucking do that.